Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Bliss Ojeruse, and I am a development consultant in the areas of organizational development. I work primarily with the non-profit sector and secondarily with the private sector. Today, I'll be discussing on the topic, politics is everywhere, with a case study on workplace politics. Just take a look at my 5 fingers. What do you observe? Are they all equal? Certainly not. If you look at your 5 fingers as well, you'll see that they're not equal. And I guess that validates the statement, all fingers are not equal. And that reminds me of this classic novel, Animal Farm. How many of you remember that novel? Yes, there is this character, Napoleon, and there was this rule that stated that all animals are equal. But he twisted the rule and said all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. This issue of equality is one of the primary causes of politics being displayed everywhere, and especially for the focus of today in the workplace. If I may ask you, what is politics? Perhaps you would say politics is a dirty game. Well, I'm not surprised about the definition, because generally politics is seen to be associated with negativity. So, when we talk about politics, what do we really mean by politics? There's so many schools of thought about politics, but I'll just pick a few definitions and a few keywords that we should focus on. According to the Oxford Dictionary, it states that politics is the activities associated with the governance of a country or an area, especially the debate between parties having power. Take note of the words governance and power. On the other hand, it also defines politics as activities aimed at improving someone's status or increasing power within an organization. That's more like the workplace politics. Politics is derived from the Greek word politika, according to Wikipedia, which means affairs of the city. So when you talk about politics generally, it has to do with decision making, governance, power, control, policy making. So politics is not all about dirty games, playing games. It's about policies. It's about control. It depends on how you use that control. It refers to a process, a system. It refers to a power structure. When we talk about workplace politics, it's also the same as office politics. I don't know how many of you have read the book or heard about the book, The 48 Laws of Power. If you read that book, it's a classic example of politics, right? That's why I wouldn't advise that anyone takes that book hook, line, and sinker. Okay, if you want to avoid workplace politics. For instance, let's look at Law 7. It says, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting others to do work for you. It's called delegation in leadership, right? But that clause, always take the credit, is a problem. And you see that this is one of the things that go on in the workplace that makes it politics, right? And one of the politics that go on in workplace, like there's this cliche that people say, bamboo they walk and monkey they chop. There are some certain statistics I would like to share with us to show us, emphasize to us the importance of discussing this topic on workplace politics and how to call it. There was a survey that was conducted by HR Dive survey, and it says that 53% of workers think playing workplace politics could get them promoted. Now, there's another survey that was conducted by SHRM in 2019, and it says that we found out that 1 in 5 Americans have quit a job in the past 5 years due to toxic workplace culture, costing US companies $223 billion in turnover. Workplace politics is not something to toy with. It's something to take really very seriously. When there's politics, there has to be politicians, right? So what are the types of workplace politicians? We have the gossipers. We have the bullies. These are very common. I had the experience where I was bullied. Like, there was a time when I had an opportunity and I was the one that was delegated to take up that responsibility. It was actually, to facilitate a training, right? But somehow there was this politics in the background that they wanted to take me out of the picture for some, silly reasons. But thank God I was able to scale through, So we have climbers, those that use others to climb, to positions. And we have the advisor. The advisor can be both positive and negative. They work closely with the management, the leadership, okay, and sometimes they are consulted, they offer their advice, they trust their judgment, okay. So if you have a bad advisor, it can be detrimental, and if you have a good advisor, it can be good. We have credit thief. They didn't do the work, but they claim they take the credits, just like the 48 laws of power, right? Then we have the saboteur. Then we have the lobbyists. You always find the lobbyists in every workplace. So the effects of workplace politics can be numerous. I'll just pick a few. Apathy, loss of interest, depression, emotional and mental health issues, lack of productivity, lack of trust, violence, protest, shutdown of operations and activities, power tussle, ignorance. Ignorance stems from the politics of holding information, right? Loss. They can lose, money. They can lose different things, and it can also lead to toxic work environment, right? And finally, it can lead to quitting or resignation for people that will not be able to bear the consequences of office politics, and then they might also lose the best hands in the organization, and they can have so many other, ripple effects. How can we curb this office politics? How can we address them? One of the ways I recommend is through execution of policies. Like I said, policies are like guidelines for the organization. Policies, rules, and laws should be put in place to curtail people's excesses. Policies provide a level playing ground in any organization. Another thing is accountability and transparency. Leaders or managers should learn this. There should be documentation. There should be open communication. The communication should follow the bottom-top approach. There should be this bottom-top approach of communication. So we should be able to get feedback. There should be a feedback mechanism, and should be able to create a kind of feedback mechanism that will not haunt anyone. That everyone will be free to communicate with the management on their concerns within the organization without being victimized. Okay. Then, for the management should make provision for staff development through trainings and retraining. They should prioritize personal development. Personal development also can be seen as soft skills, life skills. Pay attention to team building, pay attention to communication skills, to emotional intelligence and leadership skills. Two key differences between a leader or leadership and politics. In leadership, the general interest is in the organization's goals. But in politics, we have selfish and personal interests, which leads and drives action further away from the organizational goals. It is important that leaders, workers should navigate from a political mindset to a leadership mindset in order to curb politics in a workplace. Thank you.